way, Donald asked me if it is possible to hold such a meeting. I said yes, it is possible. Well, in the end, if Zelenskyy is ready, let him come to Moscow.
Can we continue on Ukraine?
Yes.
When Russia and the United States are discussing their efforts to peacefully settle Ukraine, the formula of security guarantees in exchange for territories is increasingly heard. Does this correspond to what you talked about with Trump in Alaska? And what do your words mean when you said that Russia is ready to join in developing these guarantees? Who should be the guarantor, in your opinion? And, if you allow, about Zelenskyy. Is there any point in meeting with him now in the current conditions? Is it possible to work out some agreements at this meeting?
Part 1 again.
Here are the efforts of the United States. Now there are some speculations that there is a formula for guaranteeing security in exchange for territories.
No, we have never put the question like that and have never discussed it like that. Security guarantees are natural. I often talk about this. We proceed from the fact that any country should have these guarantees, a security system, and Ukraine is no exception. But this is not connected with any exchanges, especially with exchanges of territories. In general, frankly speaking, I want to emphasize this. We are fighting not so much for territories, but for human rights and for the right of people who live in these territories to speak their own language, to live within the framework of their culture, and within the framework of traditions that have been passed down from previous generations, from their fathers, from their grandfathers, and so on. This is, first of all, what we are talking about. And if these people, during electoral democratic procedures, including during referendums, spoke out in favor of being part of the Russian Federation, this opinion must be respected. This is democracy. I want to remind those who forget about it. Among other things, this is fully consistent with international law. I would like to remind you about the first articles of the Charter of the United Nations, where it is directly written about the right of nations to self-determination. But we do not connect territories and security guarantees with each other. Of course, we can say that these are close topics, but we do not directly connect them. And so the question was not raised during the discussion in Anchorage. As for possible meetings with Mr. Zelenskyy, I have already spoken about this. In general, I have never ruled out the possibility of such a meeting. Is there any sense in these meetings? Look, let's see. Here, in accordance with the Constitution of Ukraine, some may agree with this, some may not. You just need to carefully count. Read the text. The Constitution of Ukraine does not provide for any ways to extend the powers of the President of Ukraine. None at all. So he was elected for 5 years. 5 years passed. That's it. The powers are over. So there is a provision according to which elections are not held under martial law. Yes, that's true. But this does not mean that the president's powers are extended. It means that his powers expire, and his powers are transferred to the Speaker Rado, including his powers as the Supreme Commander-in-Chief. So what should the current authorities do if they want to be legitimate and fully participate in the regulatory processes? They should hold a referendum in accordance with the Constitution of Ukraine. Any issues regarding territories are resolved only by referendum, as far as I remember. But a referendum cannot be held under martial law. This is also a constitutional provision of the Constitution itself. So, in order to hold a referendum, martial law must be lifted. But as soon as this is done, we need to go to the elections, and this process will last forever. The result of the elections is unclear, but whatever the result, we need to get the corresponding conclusion of the Constitutional Court. This is what is written in the basic law, and how to obtain the conclusion of the Constitutional Court. if after the authorities demanded that this constitutional court of Ukraine confirm the extension of the president's powers, and he actually refused to do so, then what was done in Ukraine? It's funny, but true. Security stopped letting the chairman of the Constitutional Court into his workplace. That's it. Well, the movie ended there. But not quite, because as far as I know, I don't know where he is now, but at one time he went abroad. But in recent years, the powers of some members of the Constitutional Court have expired. He does not have a quorum to make decisions. Therefore, this is a road to nowhere. If we simply hold meetings carefully with the current head of the administration, so to speak. Yes, I have never refused it if this meeting is well prepared and will lead to some positive possible results. By the way, Donald asked me if it is possible to hold such a meeting. I said yes, it is possible. Well, in the end, if Zelenskyy is ready, let him come to Moscow.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.